This week, we read Parshat Noach. I know you know the story. God tells Noah to build a big boat, an ark, because God is planning on destroying the world. Noah listens, and despite strange glances from friends and neighbors, he builds an ark big enough to hold 2 of every kind of animal on the planet. And then it rains and pours for 40 days and 40 nights, and the earth is completely flooded, and any life not on the ark with Noah is lost. Noah sends out the dove, who eventually finds dry land, symbolized by the olive branch that it holds in its beak upon its return to the ark. And then, at the altar that Noah builds for God, God makes a promise. Never again will I doom the earth because of man, since the devisings of man's mind are evil from his youth. Nor will I ever again destroy every living being as I have just done. God continues by making a covenant with Noah and every living creature to never destroy the earth through flood. And God sets a rainbow in the sky as a sign of this covenant. The story of Noah continues as we learn a little bit more about his family and his lineage, and then as Noah's lineage comes to a close, 9 new verses of people behaving badly. That's right, we end the story of Noah and God's flood by reading about the people building the Tower of Babel. Here, in just 9 verses, we learn the people's plan to build a tower to God, and then their complete disregard for one another as the work gets more complicated and more dangerous. God is frustrated by their behavior, the overly ambitious tower and their lack of respect for one another, and scatters them physically and verbally. People are spread out across the earth, now with hundreds of languages. They can no longer easily communicate, and the world is back in a state of disarray. It's a bit frustrating. After flooding the earth, God realizes that humankind struggles with evil inclinations from the day they are born, and decides that humans need the benefit of the doubt. God declares, "Never destroy the earth and wipe us out by flood again." God even sends us a rainbow that we often see in the sky and are reminded of God's belief that we will strive to be better people. And then we go ahead and ruin it. It takes us just 9 verses to wipe away the peaceful ending of the flood story. It takes us 9 short verses to make the fleeting beauty of the rainbow disappear. 9 verses. 9 quick lines of text to bring back chaos and make life even harder. Don't we get any rest from the turmoil? Can't we just enjoy the peace and quiet once in a while? Or is chaos too innate to human nature? The builders of the Tower of Babel never stopped and thought about the past, about the flood that had just recently cleared the earth, and the kinds of behavior that led God to that level of destruction. These builders were so busy planning that they never realized the peaceful world they were living in was a result of previous chaos. They got so caught up in their ambition to progress that they never stopped to think about how to maintain peace. It would seem we can't stop ourselves from pushing and doing more. And like the people who built the Tower of Babel, once we get going on a project, we often forget everything else around us that is important. We live busy lives. I get calls from parents every day who tell me how overscheduled their children are, how overscheduled they are. There are work commitments, family gatherings, classes, committees, board meetings, and more. We rush from one place to another, annoyed by the delays of traffic and subways, knowing that we rarely have a minute to spare. We come home at the end of a long day, overworked and overtaxed, and with little patience or energy left in our minds and bodies. We leave little time or space for ourselves or our loved ones. We forget to care for the important people and things in our lives, assuming that they will just be there and stick with us no matter what. Between our busy lives, the Tower of Babel, and every other biblical story about disorder among the human race, we might come to believe that we are actually drawn to this state of being. Maybe we even secretly enjoy it. I'm sure I'm not the only one who finds themselves being more productive when they are busy. We relish the upheaval because we are afraid of being at peace. We fear that we will lose our drive, our passion, our power. We are scared that inside a quiet, peaceful life, we will lose a sense of ourselves and be bored. How can we be the confident people that we strive to be amongst stillness? How will we break barriers, try new things, and be dynamic if we allow ourselves to dwell within quiet, calmer moments? But I look out at our kahal tonight. The sanctuary is filled with people who are looking for a moment of peace. Shabbat, we know, is intended to be a break from the busy world. It is a sacred time that is separate and meant for us to pause, to sit, to be calm, to reflect. We come together tonight and we seek out the Shabbat peace that we so desperately need, even as we keep ourselves too busy to find it during the week. Each year, I talk to our students about how prayer can be a moment of quiet in our loud and chaotic lives, that prayer can give us space to just breathe and be. And actually, Jewish prayer can happen every day, not just on Shabbat. Our tradition sets a space for us to find calm and quiet every day. If we want to be more precise, it could even be more than once a day. Judaism teaches that we should say the Shema twice a day. That's 2 separate, brief moments to pause, to breathe, and to not rush into the next thing. What would your life look like if you stopped building the Tower of Babel and had a moment to pause twice a day? Would you be better able to prevent a project from becoming chaos? Would you be able to stop destruction and exhaustion if you gave yourself a space to breathe? Would your ambition overtake you so easily, or would you be able to relish in the calm? The story of Babel is without question a cautionary tale, not only about the dangers of ambition or of forsaking others in pursuance of power. It is 9 verses of text that remind us that peaceful calm is possible in our world, but we have to choose to live in it. We have to be thoughtful about the projects that we take on and be reflective about how they will affect us and those around us. We must not be afraid of quiet moments that happen in our lives. We must try to dwell inside of them rather than running towards the next moment of commotion. This week, a friend of mine posted a graphic on Facebook entitled, "Everything I Need to Know About Life I Learned from Noah's Ark." The 11 items listed included notes such as, "Don't miss the boat," and "travel in pairs." But maybe the most important was the one that stated, "When you're stressed, float a while." During his time on the ark, Noah had no choice but to float. He took care of the animals, he kept the boat out of harm's way, but he didn't jump into the rushing waters. And we don't believe that Noah is a villain or an anti-hero of any kind. In fact, he's an important character, one whom God chooses to ensure the continuity of humankind. Once in a while, we should take a page from Noah's story and float. We don't need to jump into building the next Tower of Babel all the time. We can say no to being ambitious or volunteering for everything. We can float, and we can pray, and we can dwell in moments of peace and calm. This Shabbat and this week, may we move from chaos to peace and stay in peace.